everybody. I'm Nicole Greer. I hope you guys are ready for a coaching session. We're going to have a few stories thrown in, some things for you to learn along the way. I am excited to be here, but first I'm going to tell you about a story about my son, Kent. Okay, Kent is now 21 years old. He goes to Appalachian State. Any Mountaineers in the room? There you go, right there. Okay, good. So he is a whole different man than he was when he was 5 years old, because on his 5th birthday, I am standing in the dining room, the formal dining room. This is the one room in the house that you only vacuum and dust when you know that who is coming to your home? Mother-in-law. Your mother-in-law, that's right. And so I am in the formal dining room. I am freaking out about everything, because that's who I used to be. I used to freak out about everything that was on the surface, right? And so I was 1 foot on the dining room chair, 1 foot on the dining room table, getting this last cobweb off the chandelier before everybody arrives. My son is running around the dining room table, and he's making me crazy. I turn to my husband and I say, "You take him down to the ice cream store and go pick up the cake." And he says, "Yes, ma'am," because he's very well trained. And so he goes down stairs to go get his things, and he comes back and he says to my son, he says, "Kent, today I need you to get your shoes on. We're going to get in the car. We're going to go get your ice cream cake." Now, don't miss this. He's very motivated today. For some reason, he can find his shoes, put them on his feet, and tie them, and he's in the back seat of the minivan, and he is lock and load, ready to go. So this is where the first miracle occurred on his 5th birthday. My husband's like, "Wow, I like this new behavior that has come about on his 5th birthday." So they get in the car and they drive down to the ice cream store. Now they get to the ice cream store. Second miracle occurs. He still has his shoes on. I know you mommies can relate, right? Okay, so they get out of the minivan, they go into the ice cream store, and there is this hard, cold glass case. Do you guys know the hard, cold glass case? Okay, and it's got 3 levels of cakes in it. So Kent runs in, takes his little hands, and puts it where? Right on the glass, and he looks in, and he's at the first level of the ice cream case, and he says, "Oh, Daddy, 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 is that the cake that I want?" And he points at a cake, and it's a Disney cake. I mean, it's a really great cake. It's got lots of characters, and he recognizes it, and he turns to Daddy, and he says, "Is that what I want?" And his daddy says, "No, Kent, that is not the cake that you want." Now, what happens when you start telling a 5-year-old on his birthday, no? Well, not yet, but he's almost there, Kathy. He puts his hands on his hips, and he's a pretty resilient little guy, and he thinks, "I'm going back in." So he goes back into the hard cold glass case, puts his hands on there, he looks in, and this time he sees a fire truck cake. And he thinks to himself, "I like fire trucks," and like on the cake there's a big glob of icing that's like red and yellow and orange, and he thinks to himself, "When we get this sucker home, I'm gonna cut it out, and the one with the big flames, that's my piece." Turns to his daddy and says, "Daddy, is this the cake that I want?" And his daddy says, No, Kent, that is not the cake that you want." He's like, "Whoa, 2 times no." He's starting to get worried. He gets that little frowny wrinkle right here. Hands are on the hip again, but he thinks there's 3 levels to the hard, cold glass case. So he goes back in. He's on his tiptoes. Don't miss that part. He's on his tiptoes. He has to get up higher through his own volition, looks into the hard, cold glass case, and takes a deep sigh. Oh. Because it's that lame clown cake. Do you know the cake I'm talking about that has it's the one, if you're a baby boomer or a Gen X, you know that cake, this one with the clown head where it's holding the plastic bouquet of balloons. And Kent looks at that and he thinks, "Oh God." And he turns to his daddy and he says, "Daddy, is that the cake that I want?" And David says, No, that is not the cake that you want." And now, Kathy, he has what my grandpa would say, had a fit and started to fall in it. Okay? So he is crying, he is having a full-out temper tantrum. Just then, the bell on the door of the ice cream store rings and other people come in. Now my husband, being the excellent parent that he is all worried about how he looks while his child is crying. So he turns to Kent with a really powerful parenting technique and he says, "Stop crying!" So, how powerful is this technique? Not at all. Because Kent starts to cry all that harder, and so because David is resilient, this must be where Kent gets it from, he turns back to his child and he says, "Stop crying," which does nothing. So finally David is embarrassed. He walks over to his child that is in a lump of wet mass and picks him up, puts him in the hip lock. Y'all know the hip lock, right? Puts his arm around him, and where does Kent's little wet snotty face go? Right here. That's right, on the shirt that I told him not to get anything on. Okay, and so the little face goes right here. David walks him over to the hard cold glass case, and he says, Kent, baby, look over the top of the hard cold glass case. Will Kent look? Why not?
Because you want him to.
Because you want him to, exactly. He won't do what you want him to. That's exactly right. And this is the key to all employee relationships, right? They won't do what you want them to. Okay, so he is butzing, as my daddy would say. He is crying, and he has got his little wet, snotty face right here. So David is like trying to talk sweet nothings to him finally and cajole him to take a look, but it won't work. And finally David has to take his big paw, put it on top of Kent's head, and says, look! And it sounded like this. Oh! Dinosaurs! Okay, now this is not a trick question. So don't think too hard. Sometimes y'all are smart and you want to think hard. Don't think too hard. Question is, why did dinosaurs take Kent's breath away? Why? What?
Dinosaurs.
He loves dinosaurs. What do you say? They were different. Well, here's the thing. He loves dinosaurs. And that's what he really wants. Is, he kept saying, is this the cake that I want? And David knew that these three, although they are options, they are not what you really, really want. Because you know what a 5-year-old wants, right? They are relentless in telling you exactly what they want. In fact, back at the party where I finally got all my cobwebs down and the boys are still MIA, people are starting to arrive, and in every box and gift bag, what is there?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs! That's right. There are dinosaur pillows and dinosaur puzzles and dinosaur videotapes and dinosaur everything under the sun. Hello, heads up, the kid likes dinosaurs. Okay, so why am I telling you this dinosaur story? Because the key to getting what we really want is to what? Ask for it, request it, talk about it. Because then you will start to get what you really want. But if you keep your dreams hidden away, you will not get them. I will go in and I will work with teams of people, and they will think, oh, that was really good. And then they will get back to the office, they will take my materials and file them with all the other white binders that they have on their shelf from every other conference that they've been to, and they will never touch it again. And they'll say, you know what, that stuff you told me, it didn't work. And I said, well, did you try it? They're like, no, but I have my binder right here. Okay, so here's the thing. You have to choose. You have to choose to take this information and actually what?
Apply it.
Do something with it, right? Okay, so choose to see something to learn today and choose to take action on at least something we're going to do today, okay? So that's your choice. You stand in choice. Now, here's one of my key theories about every human on planet Earth, is that there is a little dream that you are born with, okay? And that there is, like this power on planet Earth that puts thoughts in your head that makes you think about your little dream. Now, the reality is that coaches look at what you're doing, but they insist that you get better. They insist on it. And so something has happened in our workplaces where if somebody insists you get better, we're almost offended. I want you to take a look at the women at your table if you haven't already. Take a good look at the chicks around the table. Look at the wisdom and the years of experience and the great hair on these women at your table, okay? Just take a look, okay? I have to come in thinking that if I sit next to you, I am going to have more genius in my life. And why wouldn't I want to take Dr. Barnsley Brown's genius? The chick is a PhD. Teach me something, right? She's got all this education and I can just glean it out of her brain, right? And put it in my brain, and it costs me nothing, and she's willing to do it. So we come to things thinking no one gets to be wrong, only partially right. And if I come out of a meeting not smarter than when I started, I'm not what? At work. I'm relaxing in our meeting. This character trait, okay, the key to open your mind is willingness. Okay? Now, back where you work, is there one human that you can go to and say, the trash needs to be taken out? And they go, okay, I'll do that. I worked with these 85-year-olds every morning, once a week, and I had this selected number of books that I could teach out of, but I would be the storyteller. And so I have all these little 5-year-olds, and then we had these parents that were the tappers, and if you misbehaved, they would come by and tap you on the head, and they would listen to me, okay? And so that was our, I don't know why we had that policy. It doesn't seem right in the establishment I was in, but anyway. So I'm teaching the story, and there's always one little 5-year-old in the group, right? And this 5-year-old is listening to you, and like he's homeschooled or something, or his parents are very serious, and so like he is like popping his arm up 3 sentences into my story, and I'm like, put your hand down. And this kid can't take it, about, 3 minutes go by, and he's like, you're like, put your hand down, and he can't take it. Then finally he shoots his hand up one more time, and I say, is there something you would like to tell Miss Nicole? I am telling a story. Can your question wait? He goes, no, can't wait. I say, well, what is your question? He says, I already heard this story before. And I say, oh, really? And so I used to bring this child to the front to try to teach him a lesson. So I would bring him to the front. And I would say, well, let me ask you a question. Obviously, this story is in your head. Is that correct? Yes, it's in my head. I'm like, okay, good. Now, my next question is it in your heart? And this little kid goes, I don't know. I'm like, well, you need to know. Is it in your soul? Is the story in your soul? He goes, I don't think so. And I say, well, here's the deal. Miss Nicole is here to tell you a story. So it will get in your heart, it will get in your soul, and it will start coming out your fingers. Is it coming out your fingers? And the child goes, no, I don't think so. And I say, well, then sit down and listen to the story. So he goes, sits down. But what is the point? The point is if you have a little dream, a little idea, what your future might hold, you have to get it in your head. And then you have to tell yourself this story. You have to tell yourself this dream over and over again. So it takes up your heart space. And once it takes up your heart space, it gets in here. And then you can no longer just sit around with the dream. You have to actually physically what?
Do something.
Do something with it. And so it is with a 5-year-old, and so it is with a 45-year-old. We have to take action. So that is the invitation here, is to move across this lifeline, pushing the dream into the heart space, into the soul space, into the fingers, and out into the world, and really doing something amazing with our lives. Now, anybody more clear now that maybe you have a little dream you have in the back of your head? Anybody any little clearer there about what this process looks like? Because I want you to get clear about it's not going to happen on its own. We have to perform. If we don't get the lesson the first time around, guess what? Life gives us another chance and another and another. Life gives us every opportunity to work through what we need to work through. And so she's basically saying, well, if you'll think about it differently, if you'll get your head wrapped around that little dream of yours a little bit tighter, you won't be recycling all the reasons why you can't get this thing done. Why don't you figure out some reasons that you could get it done? Mm-hmm. See, it's this head of ours, I am telling you, that gets in our way. It's with business, it's with life, it's with the guy we married, it's with the children we're trying to raise. Pick something new to frame it around so we can make some movement. So client, she says, Nicole, I got a book. You know that dream, desire, destiny thing you talk about all the time? She's like, I know what my dream is. I want to be a published author. I'm like, awesome. Tell me about the book. So she tells me about the book. I said, I think this book will sell. Okay, it's going to be nonfiction. It's going to be a how-to book. She's a really smart girl. She's got all sorts of degrees. She is awesome, right? And she says, I'm going to write this book. I said, okay. I will hold you accountable. That was my main job. So we get on the phone, and we're coaching along. And like most of us, we are moving along the lifeline, and she gets what? Stuck. Now, it's not about time, and it's not about money. This one is about energy. And so I said to her, well, may I give you an idea? Because you don't just tell people what to do. You coach them. You ask them if there's a way you can help them. So she gives me permission. And, giving somebody an idea is giving them a pure gift. If I give her feedback, it's pure gift. What a brave girl I am to help her. Because I could just not care about her. Do you see that? So this woman is paying me on the phone to give her ideas, and so I give her one. I say, here's what you can do to write the book. And she goes, oh, I don't know. If I did that, it would be hard. And I said, well, you could do it like this, or you could do it like that. Now, to get her started writing a book. Will it require more energy than she has ever put out to sit her fanny in a chair and focus? Yes. And so that's what you signed up for. And so I give her this idea. I say, sit there and put a timer. If nothing comes, at least you can say, I worked on my book for 30 minutes today, which is progress, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we're coaching along, she gets stuck again. I say, do you want my pure gift of an idea? She says, yes, in a nanosecond. I said, here's what you can do. She says, oh, I don't know. If I did that, it would be hard. All right. What does she believe about writing a book? It's going to be hard. Now, there is an epidemic of hard right outside those doors. Today, as you are traveling in your travels, talking to the people you love, you're going to say to them, how was your day? It was hard. And you'll say, how was that test you took? It was hard. What was it like to call on all those sales calls today? It was hard. It is so damn hard out there because we have chosen to look through our hard belief system and say, it's just hard. What's wrong with things out there? It's what? The economy? What else? But here's the thing. If I get up and I say, I'm going to be the best that I can be today. I'm going to bring sunlight and shininess everywhere I go. I'm going to think things are easy and things are going to work out. What are the odds things will be easy and they'll work out?
100%. Pretty great.
Pretty great. That's right, because I'm bringing with me this energy that is not present in the world right now. So the first thing we want to ask a question about in a meeting is, what do I really want? Okay? Any interaction, the first question you're asking yourself is, what do I really want? Now, this is not a myopic, narcissistic question. This is a question saying, if I could impact this situation and have the outcome be dinosaurs, what would I really want to have happen? It's getting this little vision of what the future would look like, even at the end of a meeting. Because I will tell you, we go to meeting after meeting after meeting, and we're just dreading them, we're just getting through them, and we are walking away, and we go out to the water cooler or out to the parking lot, and we say, I don't even know why we have that meeting. Okay, and that's because nobody really wants anything in the meeting. You got to go and go, this is what I really want in this meeting, or this is what I really want in my marriage, this is really what I want for my daughter, this is what I really want for my dream. What do I really want? It's a very scary thing for some people because, you're told to be logical all the time. But I'm telling you, logic is after you've done the dreaming. Okay? It's after. So the whole idea of your dream is that it must be possible. Probability is not considered. So this woman is African American. She was born in Mississippi. She had a lot of trouble growing up. In fact, I think incest was in her life. And she ended up going to Maryland, and she was on TV in Columbia, Maryland, and then somebody thought, this girl has potential, and they took her to Chicago, and they said, now you have the O Show and the magazine, and her name is?
Oprah.
Was it probable? No. But look, okay, it is totally probable that you might get diabetes. But is it possible you could just avoid the whole stinking thing if she pays attention to what? That's right. So get her another salad, pasta, it's not good, right? So doing trumps knowing. Do you all know that for a fact, doing trumps knowing, right? Don't people sit around and say, I don't know if this will work, and you're like, for goodness sake, just give it to me, I'm going to figure it out. Do you all do that? Are you those kind of girls? I know this is that kind of girl crowd, right? You're like, ridiculous. And you grab it, and you run out the door, and you don't even know what you're going to do, but you get in the car, and you think, I'm going to go somewhere that will make this work. And you figure it out. All right, now, energy is really, really important because people are like, what do you mean energy, Nicole? Okay, it's like this thing, like some days you have to pull it up from your toenails. I'm going out into the world. I'm exhausted, but I will just what? Pull it from somewhere. Yeah. It's in there, right? This is Linda. Linda is 60 years old. Linda, like a lot of ladies in her baby boomer category, they got out of high school and they married the guy that they were dating and went to prom with. She never went to college, and she went right into doing the kids. She had a whole boatload of them and everything. And one of the things that she said is, they're all gone. They live all over the country. Nobody lives here with me. What the heck? And I said, well, what do you want to call yourself in the future? She says, well, people, Nicole, they used to call me beautiful. They always told me I was so pretty, I had pretty eyes. Okay, and this is like all, like her being very vulnerable, right? And courageous girl, how many of us walk around going, I'm pretty? Okay, she had to get to the point where she's like, I think that that I'm pretty. Even at 60, I'm pretty. I'm like, you are. You're gorgeous. She has these eyes. They're like steel blue, right? And I said, well, you're beautiful. Let's call you beautiful, right? So she goes by Estee Lauder, right? There's a whole perfume, and she sprays it all over herself, right? And she says, you know what I really want? I want the model's life. I saw this ad, Nicole. I saw where they need models that are over 60. I saw it, and I think I could do that. And I said, okay, I think that's great. And so she says, I'm still attractive. And I said, you are very attractive. And so this is her getting shot in a Blue Cross Blue Shield commercial where she's there with her fake grandchildren and she's on a skateboard. Okay? So here's the point, okay? What's the point, Nicole? Give us a point. Please, already a point. So here's the point. The point is that you've got to take all your intellectual energy, you've got to become a cheerleader for your own life. You've got to use your spiritual energy. You've got to work on your physicality. It never ends. We got to eat right. We got to exercise. We got to do these right things. Take our vitamins. Fish oil's good. Vitamin D's in a little squeezy liquid thing. Do that, because if your hips hurt, that's what that is. And we gotta get our next right steps in place. So my name is Nicole Greer. It's been my total pleasure to be here and work with you guys today. My dream is to take coaching inside organizations and help people from CEO to the frontline people get this little dream and make the work that they do be in service to the dream. So it's been my pleasure.
Thank you.